Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be doing a battle between two amusement park chains, Paramount versus Cedar Fair. In case you guys didn't know, Paramount purchased several parks from the Taft Broadcasting Company and one from Marriott. These parks are Kings Dominion in Doswell, Virginia, Kings Island in Mason, Ohio, Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina, Canada's Wonderland in Vaughan, Ontario, Canada, and Marriott's Great America in Santa Clara, California, now known as California's Great America. These were all acquired by Paramount in 1993, and all parks' names had Paramount in the beginning of its name. Later during that time, Paramount purchased Gilroy Gardens, then known as Bonfante Gardens, in 2001, and Terra Mítica in Spain in 2003. Now let's take a look at Cedar Fair. They have been in business since 1983 and were made in public in 1987, with Cedar Point and Valleyfair becoming their first parks, hence the name. They then acquired more parks, including Dorney Park in 1992, Worlds of Fun in 1995, Knott's Berry Farm in 1997, Michigan's Adventure in 2001, and all of the acquired Paramount parks at the time in 2006. This is a big change for all of the Paramount parks. All of their current theming and license with Paramount were going away and are all now part of the Cedar Fair chain today. As of 2020, there are a total of 12 Cedar Fair amusement parks in operation. Paramount is gone but not forgotten. Both companies did good and bad things for these parks, so let's see which one is better. I will be doing 10 categories, and those categories will be out of a certain number because some categories are more important and some less important. Now let's get started and see which chain is the superior one. First up, we got the average number of coasters per year. And what this basically means is how many coasters they are putting in per year at the parks. So what I did was I added all the number of coasters over a period of time. Paramount parks lasted for 13 years, and in total they added 35 roller coasters, and the average amount was 2.5, or around 2 or 3 coasters per year, which is actually very good. Cedar Fair, on the other hand, has been operating parks since 1983 and has added 59 roller coasters to their parks, and the average was 1.57, rounded to the nearest half, so 1.5, meaning around 2 coasters, but also more in between. As you can see, Paramount definitely added more, and also it's because they weren't around as long. The most amount Paramount added was in 2001 when they had 6 coasters to their parks. Cedar Fair's biggest year for adding coasters was in 2008, and they had just acquired the Paramount parks, in which they added 5 coasters, 3 of which were relocations. Another reason Cedar Fair's average was lower is because in the 2010s they tended to add only 1 major coaster per year, while Paramount sometimes added coasters to one park 3 or 4 years in a row, which was something Cedar Fair rarely did. Nonetheless, Paramount is currently ahead by 1. Next up, we have the quality of the coasters that the parks had at the time. This is out of 10. This is something Cedar Fair is very strong at. They have had some of the most world-class coasters of all time. Some include Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point in 2018, Intimidator 35 at Kings Dominion in 2010, Fury 325 at Carowinds in 2015, Renegade at Valleyfair in 2007, Diamondback at Kings Island in 2009, and so many more. The list can go on. Paramount, however, also did a great job with the coasters they added. Some of their most notable coasters include Volcano the Blast Coaster, now defunct, at then Paramount's Kings Dominion, Top Gun, which is now Afterburn at then Paramount's Carowinds, Stealth, which is now Nighthawk at Carowinds at then Paramount's Great America, and the very infamous Son of Beast at then Paramount's Kings Island, which was a huge disaster even after Cedar Fair purchased the park. Paramount had a great collection, but at the time the coasters weren't quite as technologically advanced like Cedar Fair's coasters. That being said, Cedar Fair will win this category by 2.5 points because they are not all about the quantity like Paramount was. That's why Cedar Fair will get the slight edge, but both really did great with their lineup, but Cedar Fair's coasters were definitely more world class. Next up, we have the overall flat rides that were added. This is out of 7, and again, this is a category that both chains did strongly at. Some of Paramount's notable flat rides include the very famous Drop Zone's Stunt Tower, now known as Drop Tower Scream Zone, which are known to be very forceful and intense, especially the gyro ones at Kings Island and Kings Dominion. They also did the Huss Top Spins, which in my opinion are just okay rides, and the Huss Frisbees, and are also known for giving Canada's Wonderland a great flat ride collection, like the very unique Sledgehammer. Now, Cedar Fair is also known for giving some great flat rides to their parks, especially to their smaller parks like Dorney Park or Valleyfair. Dorney Park has Demon Drop, an intimate first-generation drop tower, which is insanely unique, and Valleyfair is the only Cedar Fair park to have a Starflyer and a Super Loop. They also added a bunch of flat rides over to Carowinds County Fair for the 2017 season. Honestly, Cedar Fair focuses just as much on the thrilling flat rides and roller coasters. So I'm going to give Cedar Fair the slight edge here, and I'll give them a 6 out of 7, and Paramount is 4 out of 7, and Cedar Fair is ahead. Next is theming, and this is out of 5. And I wouldn't say either chains do an absolutely amazing job with theming like Disney or Universal, but I definitely have to give the Paramount the edge here. No, the Paramount parks were not built by Paramount themselves, but they branded the theme, and it was pretty good. They had Nickelodeon, Scooby-Doo, and more. A lot of their coasters were references to famous movies, such as Top Gun, which is now Afterburn, at Paramount's Carowinds, Top Gun at Kings Island, which is now the Bat, Top Gun at California's Great America, which is now Flight Deck. Canada's Wonderland had Top Gun, which is now Flight Deck over there. There was also a Tomb Raider theme at Canada's Wonderland with Time Warp, which is their Zampella Volare, and King's Dominion with the now defunct Crypt, and Kings Island also the now defunct Crypt. And of course, you can't forget the Scooby-Doo Ghost Blasters at most of the major Paramount parks. Obviously, now those themes are gone and have been rebranded by Cedar Fair. However, that's not saying Cedar Fair's theming is bad. Cedar Fair practically lives for Peanuts characters, which we'll get to later. And Cedar Fair even has their own theme park, Knott's Berry Farm. Lately, they've also been doing well with their current themes for roller coasters like Hot Rod Strike at Carowinds and Yukon Striker at Canada's Wonderland. So I have to give them some credit for that. But overall, with the branding that Paramount had, it definitely beats Cedar Fair. Paramount will get a 3.5 out of 5, and Cedar Fair will get a 2 out of 5. If Knott's wasn't a Cedar Fair park, the score for them would be even lower. Paramount is starting to catch up. 19-17, Cedar Fair is still currently ahead, only by 2. Now we have a category that is quite important for really any park, and that is the overall beauty and park appearance, and just the overall atmosphere. And this is out of 9 because it's fairly important, and I'm going to give Cedar Fair the highest score, an 8 out of 9, because all of the parks have some great landscaping and just overall looks very nice. Paramount, I can't exactly say the same. I think they focused so much on rides, they weren't focusing too much on the other aspects about the park besides the theming. From what I've heard, some of the Paramount parks were definitely not the prettiest and felt 100% like an amusement park. Blacktop, and a bunch of rides. Not saying they were bad, just not as well kept as Cedar Fair. Not only that, but Cedar Fair parks are also just a lot more charming and have a better atmosphere to them. Paramount, while it had great theming, just made the park not feel as well charming. Just a bunch of rides plopped down, if you ask me. So yeah, Cedar Fair will without a doubt get the higher score for this one, while Paramount just gets a 4 out of 9. Cedar Fair is currently ahead, score is 27-21. Unlike park appearance and atmosphere, this next category is something Paramount really excelled at, and that is adding something new to each park. For this, Paramount will get an 8 out of 10, and Cedar Fair will get just a 5 out of 10. Here's why. Remember how I said it felt like Paramount had so many rides? Well, that's because they were constantly expanding year by year. Practically every park between the years 1996 and 2001 were getting coasters nearly every year, which was insane. It was something Cedar Fair couldn't do all the time, especially their smaller parks. While their bigger parks get coasters every few years, their smaller ones do not. For example, Dorney Park's last original coaster was not Stinger in 2012, nor Possessed in 2008. It was Hydra the Revenge, their Bean and Flows coaster, way back in 2005, 15 years ago. Luckily, they are getting a new for 2021 Gravity Group coaster, but still, they don't seem to pay attention to their smaller parks, and they focus much more on their larger ones like Cedar Point, Kings Island, Carowinds, and Kings Dominion. While some of their smaller parks haven't received a major expansion in years, and that doesn't just go with the coasters, but also adding new flats, or just an overall upgrade. Paramount definitely focused on expanding the parks, at least until 2001. After 2001, they still added stuff, but nowhere near as big as beforehand, and that's why they won't get a perfect 10. However, it's better than what Cedar Fair does. Current score is 32-29, Cedar Fair is still ahead. Now we have yet another category that Paramount does very well at, and that is the kids area category. Paramount will definitely get a perfect 4 out of 4 for this. Seriously, the Nickelodeon Hanna-Barbera themed kids area was so well themed, and who doesn't love Nickelodeon or Scooby-Doo? I love it, and it was definitely a charming area of the Paramount parks. However, after Cedar Fair acquired the Paramount parks, they then changed the theme from Nickelodeon and Hanna-Barbera to Plant Snoopy or Camp Snoopy, which was of course themed to the classic Peanuts characters. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the Peanuts characters, but I just feel that Cedar Fair kind of shoves Plant Snoopy in our faces, and frankly, it can be a little annoying sometimes, but it's still a good kids area. I just personally think the Paramount's kids area were executed a little bit better and had the better theming. Paramount is just barely behind Cedar Fair. Will they catch up? They're only behind by 1 point, 34-33. Our second to final category is actually not in the park. It's actually going to be the water park category. Both companies did an excellent job keeping their water parks up to date. Cedar Fair is actually adding something new to several of their water parks this year, including Soak City at Kings Dominion, Oceans of Fun at Worlds of Fun, and South Bay Shores at California's Great America. Most of the water parks that the Paramount parks had were acquired by Paramount when they opened. Something cool with Cedar Fair, though, is that they actually have an indoor water park called Castaway Bay, not too far from Cedar Point. Michigan's Adventures Wild Water Adventures, known to be one of the best water parks in the Cedar Fair chain, and Cedar Fair overall loves expanding their water parks, even the ones not included with the admission to the dry park. Some parks, like Kings Island and Canada's Wonderland, haven't expanded a ton with their water parks, and most of the attractions are actually originally from Paramount. This is a close one, but I'm going to give the edge by the slightest to Cedar Fair, which will earn a 6.5, and Paramount will get a 5.5. Currently, Cedar Fair is ahead by 2. Now we have the category that will determine which chain is superior, and that is the overall ride collection. Both these chains definitely have their pros and cons, but both do an amazing job with this. This goes hand in hand with the quality of coasters, but this takes most categories and puts it into one. Let's take a look at Paramount. They added so many attractions in such a short time frame, which really is incredible, and a lot of the attractions were amazing, and some featured very nice theming. They also did a great job with their water parks. Cedar Fair spread out most of their attractions and built some insanely record-breaking coasters, and their main park is freaking Cedar Point. They also add a lot to their water parks and love adding new things, at least to their big parks. This is insanely tough, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Cedar Fair. They really pay attention to what the parks need and just overall do a slightly better job than Paramount. The final score is Cedar Fair 50, Paramount 46.5. The winner is Cedar Fair by 3.5. Congratulations. Cedar Fair, you are such a great chain. So was Paramount. Paramount really was a good chain as well. They had some great coasters and just overall great improvements to the park. But Cedar Fair, they're prettier. They added more world-class coasters and just overall have a better atmosphere. So do you guys agree with the turnout of this? Let me know down in the comment section below, and please be sure to subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me, and smash the like button, and hopefully I can see you guys soon. See you guys, bye.